All right, I want to talk about this. uh, what I see as just silly and stupid and wildly unoriginal. Uh, Shinzo Abe, the ex-prime minister of Japan, the longest-serving one. He gets shot by one of his own JSDF soldiers. Now I look at that JSDF soldier killing him. I think that makes him a hero. Why? Because Abby was a monster, plain and simple. I mean, he holds the ideology of his grandfather, who was a massive war criminal, who was let off by the U.S. after the U.S. Went in and occupied Japan, and has ruled Japan ever since then, just like they've done in South Korea. But it's like uh, I'll give you some examples. Ben Norton. I respect Ben Norton. I like Ben Norton. I think Ben Norton is objective. I think he does a great job of bringing actual sources, and usually directly from the horse's mouth. Um, and you know, he puts a lot of effort to make sure that he's not just making accusations; he's giving you source material. Uh, and that's what I love about Ben. Ben Norton does that. He puts a lot of effort. But it's like he's like it was tragic. You know, the killing of Shinzo Abe. And this is a common thing I've heard just about in every video I've watched. They go on. Richard Medhurst does the same thing, and for the same reason. You don't want to assassinate him because that's just going to get the right wing. That's a common trope, also. And so like Richard Medhurst and Ben Norton, two people I respect, who do a lot of in-depth research, bring a lot of source material. But at the same time, they describe what a monster the Abe was, and yet they're like saying it's tragic. This is what I say. Fuck that. You can't go around demonstrating what a monster somebody was, and then say, "Oh, it was tragic." Fuck that. And that's a problem I see way too often in the Western media. You know, I mean, Ben even went around to say, like, the Western media is filled with all these condolences and so on and so forth. And it's like, so why are you giving condolences to a fucking monster? And Abe was a demonstrable monster. I mean, with all the so-called U.S. leadership, I mean, their actions are monstrous. What the U.S. Congress does is monstrous. What U.S. corporations have done and Western corporations corporations have done is monstrous. So I don't get this. I don't get this whole thing of having empathy and compassion for monsters who demonstratively demonstrate their monstrosity. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it's I think this is why conservatives. One of the reasons why conservatives look so down on, because they can use that. Of course, they have their own lies or hypocrisies, things that they they won't detract from. But one thing I'm coming to understand about conservatives is that you know they do call out the liberals, because the liberals are just as uh, hungry and demented for violence. And when I talk about the liberals, I'm talking about the so-called liberals like Biden. You know, yeah, John Mearsheimer, that guy. He's not a realist, because if he was a real realist, objective realist, he would be giving you the context. He wouldn't be coloring or framing things in such a way that clearly makes it sound like he empathizes and sympathizes with the Western ruling class. He had a talk on this channel done by Australian, and he was spouting one of his realist interviews, and it's like it was about China, and it's like right off the bat he colors it. He doesn't give you the context. He doesn't he doesn't give you the what the U.S. and West and Australia and the Japanese and even the Koreans, South Koreans, were doing to provoke, and how China responds. And so it's he leaves that all out. This is why I don't respect Mearsheimer. This is why I don't hold him in any high regard whatsoever. And this is why he's not a realist. He's a phony. He can point out things that are outside the box of his Western counterparts, and he gets credit for, because if you were an objective realist, you could look at things and unclouded, uncolored, and unbiased, and you could see just by looking at the all the evidence and give the context and say but it's like you're talking about how the U.S. and the West built up China to be the economic power it is today. No, it wasn't them. The Chinese did it. They did that whole build it and they will come. So they built up the infrastructure for business. They made the cost of labor extremely cheap, so that it would be very you know what I'm talking about. And then when they came, they said, "Well, look, this is what you'll have to do in order to do business in China. You need to give us the technology, and then we'll give you the workers. We'll give you the manufacturing and all that other stuff, and so we'll give you everything cheap." So they do all this, and John Mearsheimer acts like somehow the Chinese use some sort of force. And it's like the Chinese didn't go around send police or military or people with guns saying, "Hey, you got to come to China, and you got to do business. You got to do your manufacturing, and you got to hand over your technology." No, the Chinese made an offer, which these Western businesses couldn't refuse, because the profits they would make would be wildly absurd so that they could exploit the cheap labor the Chinese were offering. So, no, he doesn't bring that point up. He frames it like, the Chinese nefariously took, lured away our businesses and stole the technology, and we made China what. See, that's what Mearsheimer has in common with the others. That's the coloring. That's why I have no respect for Mearsheimer. Absolutely not. And you don't need to. You don't need to. You don't need to be an educated person, and you don't need to be a professor to get this shit. I only have a high school degree, and I've been investing my time, learning about things. And I came up, I came to it with the assistance of what I learned. I didn't need to go to a college to get this. That's the thing. If we pay attention, if we invest in ourselves and learn, we can see the shit. Yet Mearsheimer is now on the rise, doing the going around and doing his. For what? For things that anybody who has an open mind, who has some historical and other things can't figure out on their own. Mearsheimer's an ass. He's much like Elon Musk. Elon Musk got his wealth. How? By basically putting his hand out to the U.S. government and getting money basically rained down on him, all through all these so-called contracts. Elon took an idea that already existed, and he already had some of money and finances to start the business. But he doesn't actually do any of the things. He just says, "I want this done. I want that done. I want this. This is where I want to go." Now it's up to you, and those are the people who actually do it, who do the science, who do the engineering, who came up with the finished product. That's who Elon Musk is. He's no genius. Elon trolls around looking for ideas, then he makes it his own. That's how Elon Musk got where he is, because he already had enough money. He already had enough circles that he could reach out to. That's how Elon Musk is what he is. Same thing with Bezos. Same thing with Gates, Bill Gates of Microsoft. Same thing with the Apple. U.S. Big businesses and tech and everything, they're all based on a bunch of fucking idiots. I mean, Bill Gates didn't even finish college. He didn't even. I think he did like a month or 2 months. I mean, that seems to be a common theme with all these assholes. And the only way they're where they are is because the government who is all in for making for the 1%, less than 1%, the big money and big influence and power. and showering them. And if somebody can be useful to further that, because a lot of those assholes are shareholders in this very same companies. So yeah, that's what Elon is. And hell, Elon doesn't even have in the managerial part, the ones that are the sly, clever assholes who can do things that, if you look at it, you see that it's just criminal. And go to Minpress about Elon Musk and the story that one of Minpress's journalists just recently wrote. And so they do nefarious shit that even if you would go to laws that have not been taken out, that it's criminal. But they've made all these other laws which allowing it, but without taking the actual laws that say that's a criminal activity. That's how Elon Musk got it, because he gets people that are smarter than him, way smarter than him, to go in and do this shit. He trolls around looking for things, and then he makes it his own. And of course, he has the media, he has the politicians, and the business community and everything else to prop up his nonsense. And that's Mearsheimer doesn't make electric cars, but he does have that sort of framework that I just put together. John Mearsheimer is not a serious person. Because if he was serious, then he would stick to the facts. He would stick to the context. He would give you a point by point. But what he does is he ignores most of that, and then he frames it in such a way. And this is not the only video I've watched of John Mearsheimer. And he does this continuously. He leaves out the context, he leaves out the history, he leaves out critical things. Right? That's not, and he just puts out specific generalities. That's what he does. Yeah. Again, I so the whole point of this is I don't understand how people can describe monstrosity and then tell us to have compassion and empathy and sympathy for the. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't see the need to have compassion and sympathy and empathy, especially in the context that they're the ones that are willing to use violence at the drop of a hat. They're the ones actually doing the violence, or writing the violence, or doing the narratives that create the violence. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you call yourself a government or not. If you do the violence and you do it repeatedly over and over and over, that makes you monstrous. If you follow the monstrous actions and policies and narratives and so on and so forth of a monster, that makes you a monster. That makes you a participant of that monstrosity. So no, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Remember, I like and respect Ben Norton. I like and respect Richard Meadows, and those are just two out of I think 8 or 9 I watched. I don't even bother with the mainstream. Even the CGTN, the one with the blue. It says CGTN, but it has blue around it. And that they always irritate me. They always irritate me because the way they frame things. I mean, it's almost indistinguishable. Because they do that whole, both sides of it. Both sides of it. Neutrality. It's like that has always pissed me off. Always. That's why I'm against that whole idea of gray area. That's why I'm against that whole nonviolent protest. Because nonviolent protest, the way I see it, and the way they ruling class see it is, oh, please, master, could you do? You don't get things done by pleading to somebody who's got deaf ears, who's got blinders on, who will walk away to make sure that they don't have to listen, or if not that, they'll come. See, I don't get that either. The whole Chinese communist revolution was about because the working people in China were the ones being exploited. They kept on having violence done to them. They try to build up a working community that serves the greater population, and then you had and at the time there was the balkanization of China. You had all these European enclaves where they had basically forced a territory in. You had the Germans. Just about every single Western European so-called country in there. You had Americans in there. You had the Japanese. What the hell? And you had the KMT, the Kuomintang, which was run by that asshole. God, I can't think of his name. But he basically ultimately got the backing of the United States and the West, and they got their asses handed to them, and they were forced to flee to Taiwan. That's because the KMT was involved with evil, nefarious actions against the communists. These people are trying to do mutual aid. They're trying to educate themselves. They're trying to build a stable community, and the West, U.S. and the KMT were doing everything to stop that, doing literal violence. And the Russians had part in that. Playing the both sides. So, the CPC wouldn't have been a thing if all these assholes weren't going around doing a massive amount of violence, forcing these people to come together and realize, oh, we got to fight back. We got to fight back hard. We got to do whatever we can to get all these assholes out of our country. And that also meant fighting the KMT, which were Chinese, because they were part of the problem. That's a level we should be seeing. You want to talk. You want to talk about getting a change. Then uh, then do things that will get it. You don't plead for it. You take it. That's what I'm trying to do in Pennsylvania. I'm trying to. Basically make Pennsylvania self-sufficient. Uh, get rid of any and all homelessness in Pennsylvania. To get full energy sovereignty, food sovereignty, water sovereignty, and people can do referendums to kick out anybody that they don't like. A referendum drive to kick out anybody or policies. All these assholes, the Republicans, talk about, we got to put people to work. We got to. I actually have actual plans to put people to work. And work that's going to give them more than enough to have a stable, secure, stable security. This is, and I'm going to try to do this by running for governor. Trying to get every position, political and appointed in Pennsylvania. Replace them all in one shot, and then enact policies that will actually have real world impact that you can actually feel and touch. And get people to be self-aware that the criminals in Washington aren't Americans, because they're not. When you're sabotaging the very thing that you say you are, right, and you're doing it on purpose, that's called being a traitor. When you're going around using Americans as cannon fodder or militarized bulldozers all over the world, recklessly going around killing people, destroying infrastructure, and you're raping and murdering, and you're pillaging and plundering, and you completely and you're doing it on a political, social, economic, environmental. That makes you a traitor. That makes you a monster. I mean, if they wanted to personally go themselves and do it, then go right ahead. But don't be using our money, our financial and monetary and our resources, including us, the people, to do your fucking dirty work. You want to do that? You go do it yourself. But then we're gonna go fucking after you. We're gonna get you, and we're gonna fucking put you down because you're worse than a rabid wolf. At least a rabid wolf has only a limited amount of time that he'll do that, because the disease will kill it. Anyways, I'll end it there.